We do record these sessions and we'll be hosting them on our dissertation toolbox. We've had a little bit of trouble getting some of our past sessions up on dissertation toolbox, but we are actively working on it, so those should be up by next week. Today we are joined by Dean Jones, librarian at the San Francisco campus, who's going to be talking about avoiding dissertation fatigue. So, quick ask, do you want me to the chat box, or do you want to do that as you go along? How would you like questions to be?
Why don't people put questions on, and then what we'll do is at the end we'll go through and just start tackling them one by one in order of their appearance.
That sounds great. Okay, well, I'm going to go on mute and I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, sounds good. Hello everybody, my name is Dean Jones and I'm the librarian at the Emeryville campus in the San Francisco Bay Area. I want to say hi to all of you. If I've not met you before, I look forward to talking with you in the future, and I hope that you're having an enjoyable time here at Alliant. You're all happy, healthy, and safe right now. Just wanted to talk about something that I've encountered over time with students. I've worked with a lot of students, helping them get information for the dissertation, helping them navigate the dissertation process, and also do research, find information for the dissertation. Oftentimes I always tell people, just come to me if you have any problems, and I've encountered students that were in panic mode because they were stuck with their dissertation, and it's a very real issue that happens to everybody. While I've never written a dissertation, I have had issues with papers in my graduate work where I've hit roadblocks and was stressed out due to procrastination, different issues, just feeling stuck, like I couldn't do it. Many students sometimes reach roadblocks where they just can't go any further, and it's a very real and very distressing issue. So we're trying to do this to help people avoid the dissertation fatigue and help you get through it, and realize that you have resources and you're not alone. You have a lot of people here at Alliant that are willing to help you and work with you. So that being said, we'll go ahead and move forward. So this is avoiding dissertation fatigue, managing setbacks, mastering your time management, and overcoming procrastination. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Most graduate students have felt the pull of television, the internet, or even the desire to clean their apartments when they should be working on course readings or writing a paper. The dissertation, that long-term project with few set deadlines, is ripe with procrastination potential. If social media had been around when I was in school, I might never have finished my degree. Managing setbacks. Defining setbacks, procrastination is more about emotions than our tendencies for laziness or just being bad at deadlines. Many people start spiraling out of control and, blaming themselves, feeling like they're not good enough. They come up with a host of, things that are really very negative and heavy. And this is all about getting rid of those roadblocks and, self-name calling when you have, issues that come up during a dissertation process. At its core, we procrastinate to keep ourselves happy in the moment, which makes complete sense, right? That is until we're pulling an all-nighter to meet the client deadline we had weeks to prepare for. I've seen that a lot. Understanding why we procrastinate allows us to develop effective strategies for getting started in our dissertation now rather than waiting for later. To think too long about doing a thing often becomes its undoing. Leave it young. Procrastination is thought to come from an emotional reaction to whatever it is you're avoiding. And who doesn't want to avoid a dissertation? It's a lot of work, it's stressful, and it's in its inception, considering the dissertation at the beginning, it can be very daunting. Researchers call the phenomenon mood repair, when we avoid the uncomfortable feelings associated with our work by spending time on mood-enhancing activities like buying things online or checking social media, my two favorite avoidant activities. Of course, the mood lift is another term. Studies of college students have found that habits of putting things off only increases negative feelings later. While procrastinators tended to be less stressed and healthier in the first short term, by the second term these results were reversed. Procrastinators attempt to avoid the anxiety and worry aroused by a tough task with activities aimed at repairing the mood. These can be activities such as checking Twitter, taking a nap, emailing, or calling a friend. None of those things, there's nothing wrong with any of those things, but they could be things that are easily our go-to for distraction. These patterns make procrastinators feel worse later when they ultimately face the consequences of missing a deadline or making a hasty, last-minute effort at doing the work. Getting started. Any progress that you can make, no matter how small, can be a huge motivator to help us keep going. Start with the mindset you can start by just thinking about the dissertation for a while until you are drawn in and can't help working on it. Now this sounds very simple, and it sounds like something that's like negligible, but I've seen it in many cases where even just something as simple as this made the big difference on somebody completing their dissertation or not. Oftentimes it's just getting into the right mental space that's the most important way to get past the roadblocks of dissertation work. Procrastination. Let yourself avoid uncomfortable tasks. If you can't stop procrastinating, the good news is you can use this bad habit to your advantage. Structured procrastination is a clever way to stay productive even when you procrastinate. Investor and entrepreneur Paul Graham uses the term good procrastination to mean working on more important things than what you're avoiding. He says working on errands or unimportant tasks to avoid your real work is a bad procrastination, whereas good procrastination is avoiding errands to do real work. Aaron breaks procrastination into 3 types depending on what you do instead of the big task you're avoiding. You do nothing, you do something less important.
I'll put your earphones on.
Oh, that's right.
Do something more important. Reframe your task and its deadline. Internal deadlines work better than deadlines we impose on ourselves. Challenge yourself to stay focused on a single task for as long as possible. There's a technique called Pomodoro, and it's a productivity technique that you can use to help yourself monitor your work so that you can have breaks that you schedule yourself. Pomodoro is a 25-minute time session. You can use something as simple as a kitchen timer or your phone timer. You work for 25 minutes, and when the timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break. Then you continue the cycle as many times as it takes until your work is done. It's basically high-intensity interval training for work. Forgive yourself. Again, this sounds very simple or even, kind of trite, but I think this is probably one of the most important things to consider. I've seen a lot of students really give themselves a hard time over having a hard time writing a dissertation, but the reality is that writing a dissertation is difficult. It's very hard. And many times people look at other people's success and they imagine that they themselves are having an issue where other people don't. But all students go through this, and all students have problems writing their dissertation. It's a difficult task for many people, and I've seen many people go through it. And and a lot of times when people are done with a dissertation, they feel like oftentimes I've heard people say they feel like they've had a baby, because it's a lot of labor and it's very intensive. A study of college students found that participants who forgave themselves after procrastinating on studying for the first exam in a course were less likely to procrastinate on studying for later exams. The researchers believe forgiving yourself for procrastinating can help you overcome negative feelings about the work you put off in the past, so you can more easily approach future tasks. When you're confronting a daunting task, procrastination can seem almost inevitable. It's not something most people can just decide to stop doing through sheer force of will, but understanding why we're prone to procrastination and how to work with the habit or around it can help us avoid the worst consequences of avoiding work. Self-forgiveness for procrastinating may help people overcome the negative feelings of procrastination and encourage a change in behavior, first by reducing emotional distress and results from procrastination through self-forgiveness. The individual becomes less likely to avoid the stimulus associated with the effect in the first place. So we're going to go to some time management tools that we can use to get through the process of writing a dissertation or other papers. Self-forgiveness, 1, create a master schedule. Make a master schedule you can use to block off time at work on your dissertation. This method helps you prioritize projects and provide a structure to help you meet due dates. We do this homeschooling our kids, and my wife and I did this with ourselves writing our papers in college. Not that different for both, schools of thought, even though it's different work. Time management. Time management can help you for those of you who want to be an active part of your college community. You'll want to schedule your classes, practicums, work so that you have time before your meeting events so that you can eat, study, and get a little socializing in. How many people do most of their writing right before bedtime, or right before work, or right before something important? Putting a stressful thing right next to something, where you're stressed if you don't have time for it. It's best to find the best time period you can do the work so you're not butting up against something else that is important, stressful, or as in the case of sleep, if you lose sleep, it's going to cause you physical stress. Eliminate distractions. Between cell phones, social media, and friends, there can be a lot of activities that can distract college students from schoolwork. When it's time to get down to work, turn off your cell phone and sign out on social media accounts. Anytime that you put on a master schedule, this is designed to work on schoolwork, cell phone, it should be cell phone and television free. Set goals for dissertation writing. Set a specific goal for each writing session, write a specific amount of pages, and complete a portion chapter within a specific time frame. Again, it sounds very simplistic, but it's very hard to force yourself to do this, but once you get into a habit of this, it's very worthwhile. 5, start working on your dissertation early enough to have enough time to write. Don't save all the work till the end. Get as much done in increments, that are effective for you and reasonable for you. Don't push all the work to meet a deadline where you're stressed out and just cramming everything in. Make a project plan. Your project plan should list the things that you will need to complete your dissertation project. It should also take into account any time that you need for research and other time-sensitive tasks. So if you're doing any kind of research, if you're doing surveys, plug that into the time it takes for you to write and other time that you need. It's not going to exist in a separate world. It should be part of the time management that you do. Once you have you created your plan, it is a good idea to show it to someone else. Ideally, you will be able to show it to a dissertation supervisor. However, discussing your plan with a colleague, you may also help. Discussing your paper with a colleague may help you spot any gaps or unrealistic elements in your planning. Work on one thing at a time. It might seem like more is being accomplished with multitasking. However, splitting attention between more than one task isn't an effective way to learn. You should work on one task at a time, giving it a full attention. Focusing on one task will help you complete it more efficiently and effectively. Study in shorter bursts. This isn't really for studying necessarily, but every 30 minutes of dissertation writing, you should schedule a short 10-minute break. This goes back to the Pomodoro method. Just kind of highlights that. 9, get enough sleep. I have heard so many times that I've talked to students about dissertation work and not having enough time for it and having roadblocks. The most common thing I hear from everybody is, I haven't slept for 2 days. I think if there's a nickel for every time I've heard a student say that, I would be very wealthy. So sleep is important, and that should probably be scheduled into the process as well. Don't forget sleep. Being organized and methodical while conducting your research. The role of the supervisor. A dissertation is an opportunity for you to work independently on a project of your own design. Even so, you'll usually be allocated a member of academic staff or as a supervisor. Supervisors are there to help you shape your ideas and give you advice on how to conduct the research. They're there to teach you the topic you have chosen to investigate. This is your project. They are, however, one of the resources that you can call on during your research. Oftentimes I've had people come to me when they're floundering, they can't get past it. They're like, I can't do this, I've got a roadblock. I'm like, have you talked to your supervisor? They often say no. So talk to your supervisor. I think that's very important. They can help you. They know what you're doing. They can give you the best advice on how to proceed. Academics are busy people, so to get the most out of your supervisor, you'll need to be organized. It is not your supervisor's job to chase you for work. Rather, it is your responsibility to keep your supervisor informed of your progress. To ensure that you get the most out of your supervisor, you should adhere to the following guidelines. Agree a timetable of meetings at the start of your project and stick to it. Ensure that each meeting has a focus, setting a research problem, analyzing the data. Keep your supervisor informed of progress. Before each meeting, send relevant work to your supervisor. This could include your research plan, early results to your data collection, draft chapters. Arrive on time to each meeting you have arranged. At the end of each supervisory meeting, agree some action points for you to focus on before the next time you meet. Keep a record of what you decide in the supervision sessions. If you are not happy with an aspect of your supervisor, discuss this with your supervisor. Getting help. Think about what the problem is and how it arose. Is it possible that going back a few steps may resolve it, or is it something more fundamental? Weigh up how significant the problem is to answer your question. Try to determine what it will take to resolve the situation. Is it a matter of your writing? Is it a matter of the research? Is it the work itself? What is causing you the most trouble? Try and isolate what that is. If a problem isn't intractable, you should arrange to meet your supervisor as soon as possible. Give him or her a detailed analysis of the problem and always value their recommendations. The chances are they have been through a similar experience and can give you valuable advice. Never try to ignore a problem or hope that it will go away. Also, do not think that by seeking help you are failing as a student. Everybody's been there. All students that work at dissertations go through this. Any problems that you're having at a dissertation are completely not unique. Writing a dissertation is a completely new experience. To this point, being a graduate student has been more or less an extension of your earlier life as a student. Many people, in fact, go to graduate school because they have always been good at school and want to continue with something that brings them success and self-confidence. The reading assignments, labs, papers, and tests have been assigned as a graduate student may not have been so different from your undergraduate coursework. The dissertation, on the other hand, is a new kind of academic project, unlike anything you've done. It is an academic project that marks your transition from student to scholar. Online learning, tutoring resources. Many people have problems with dissertation and just hit roadblocks. And they oftentimes, I say to them, have you thought about using a tutor or going to a tutor? And they say no. I always advise, in the writing process of your dissertation, please consider looking at tutoring. Brain Fuse can help you also as Alliant Hawk, your dissertation support HQ. 2 resources we have in the Student Hub that can help you with the dissertation process. It's not just for other projects. Also, on the student portal, I neglected to put a link here, unfortunately, because I just thought of it, but we have many editors, and I always advise students that have difficulty with writing or just, maybe need another person to kind of look at the paper to employ an editor. We have many editors that we have looked over their accreditation and recommendations, and we have employed them, and we have links to these editors. Oftentimes, they'll recommend this to people to their success. If you feel it's something you need, it's a worthwhile thing to check out. And it's on the library website. If you need help finding a good editor or want recommendations, please circle back and email me and I'll be able to give you some names. How do students register for accommodations? If you have a disability that is an issue with writing your dissertation, and many people do have this issue, disability accommodation services are centralized to student affairs staff at the Alliant San Diego campus, who retain documentation, approve accommodations, and assist in facility disability. This is an avenue to look at if you're having particular problems with dissertation, so please check this out as well. Again, recapping what we just said, the Office of Accessibility helps students that are having problems in many avenues working with a dissertation. Please check them out and see if there are resources that you can utilize through them if you're having a particular problem with dissertation and you think you may have to look at other avenues. Just want to go over quickly the American Disabilities Act that is the reason why we have a lot of these resources. We always try to be there for students that need extra help, and please, if you do, don't feel like you're alone or unique. This is something we have for many students who utilize this. I myself utilize student services when I need it. So does my son. So you're not unique if you do need this help. And references, and that's basically it. I'm opening up to any questions that people may have.
There's a couple of things in the chat box there.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Let me go back to number 2. All right. So number 2 was most graduate students have felt the pull of television, or was it number 2 on the suggestions? Okay, thank you. Time management can help you for those of you who want to be an active part of your college community. You'll want to schedule your classes and your work and your dissertation writing so that you have time for everything. It can often be a problem where these items meet or butt up against each other or collide, so it's something you want to work with. Any more questions?
Yeah, there's a question about accessing the PowerPoint, and Dean, we are going to ask to have this PowerPoint in addition to the recording. We'll post it on our Dissertation Toolbox site there on the academic and tutoring site off the Student Hub. The technology gremlins have been biting our ankles the last week or so with hosting some of these Zoom recordings on there, but Rich Gardner is actively working on it, and we should have these up by next week.
Well, I had that problem with the outside of the school. I had that with a librarian thing last week. That's pretty awful. I'm sorry.
Yes, the gremlins have big teeth. They're biting our ankles, definitely.
Yeah, it's really depressing. All right. Yeah, I can definitely provide this. I'll provide this PowerPoint to you so students can access it whenever they want.
Perfect. And then we've just got another question for slide 14.
Gotcha. So tips for effective time management, 1 through 9. All right. Great. And like Amber said, we're going to post this online so people can access it later. You can go back and revisit and look over everything. I hope it was very helpful.
Perfect. So I think, Emily, looks like you're asking where online. Again, this is going to be in our Dissertation Toolbox section of the Hawk Moodles. So again, students would go to the Student Hub off the Alliance Student Portal, and from the Student Hub you can click on Tutoring and Academic Support, and then there we'll have a drop-down menu and it'll say Dissertation Toolbox, and this is where this is posting. It looks like Rick's been there, but are the dissertation templates posted somewhere? Rick, talk to us a little bit about what you mean dissertation templates.
We have on our website a dissertation template. It's on the library website under dissertation help, and there is a dissertation template. Also, if anybody contacts me, I can send it to them individually in an email.
Yeah, I think we had a prior session where we talked about APA formatting and the library clearance process, and Emily talked about that. So I think that's exactly what they're asking for.
All right, sounds cool. And somebody asked about the cost of the tutors. The tutors provided by Alliant they're no charge, so they're free. The editors that I mentioned, though, that I can provide you with lists of, they do charge, but they all charge individually. So they would have to tell you. I wouldn't be able to.
And Tanya and Leticia, one of the things that in years past the SGAs I know have done, and I don't know if it was done at every campus, but at some campuses the SGAs would actually award students a scholarship for editing services. So that may be something you want to explore with your SGA or your campus. One more time, the steps to find the PowerPoint. No problem at all. So go on to the student portal, and then when you're in the Alliance Student Portal, you'll go to Student Resources. That's on that left-hand side. That's where you can find, if you need to click on to see student accounts or your financial aid. There's a link called Student Resources, and then in there, it's called the Student Hub. That takes you to our back-end SharePoint site, and once you're in the Student Hub, actually all the departments are available, and under Student Affairs, it's the Academic and Tutoring Support Center. Questions are coming fast and furious here. Okay, so we've got the affirmation of the template with the APA setup, and then Ricardo's asking for the editor's recommendation. Is that on Hawk or on Library Resources? So it's not on the Hawk site. That's not on the Academic and Tutoring site. Dean, is that a Library Resources site, or is that a specific San Francisco library resource for the editing?
No, it's for all campuses, and it's all. I'm going to provide the. I should have thought. I'm going to provide the link to that actually.
or do you want to also maybe even screen share where students, if you want to kind of dive into the web or dive into point where that might be on the Student Hub?
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet. You probably have to go unshare and then choose a new.
Okay, gotcha.
We'll go to Brady Bunch for a second and then you'll share again. And yes.
And here's the link to it as well. And it has submitting to the library, all the information about that, formatting guidelines, formatting manual with that. It also has the template. And there's also a formatting guide. Here's the dissertation manuscript template right here. So that's on there as well. And then you'll want to look at the formatting guide. And we have a formatting citation, which is going to go to the 7th edition very soon, probably in the next few weeks. Submitting to ProQuest, how to do that. That's something don't think about that now. That's totally in the end. And then editors, lists of editors for your areas. I don't know where you're all at, if you're all in San Francisco or not, but these are editors for every area. Although, theoretically you wouldn't, if you're never going to necessarily meet the person unless you need to, you really could use any of them if you're just contacting by phone and email. So you really could use any if you wanted to. Here's the San Francisco ones. Transcription, if you need it for your dissertation, sometimes you do. And then editing, sometimes they're the same people. Any other questions? I want to just point out too that you guys can all contact me anytime through email. I'm going to give my email address and just contact me if you want. If you have any questions, I'm always able to ask questions and help you out.
Dean, maybe if we want to switch screen sharing, if anyone wanted to stay on for another couple seconds, I can actually show on the Student Hub where the Academic and Tutoring Support Center is. Okay, perfect. Yep. So we have writing support through Student Services and dissertation writing support through the library. That's correct. I think that's a good way to framework.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let me show real quick. We've got the Alliant Student Hub. So this is what I've done is I've logged onto the student portal and I've clicked on that left-hand resource side. I've clicked on Student Resources. Now I'm in the Alliant Student Hub. So this is a wonderful resource. This is where we've both got, again, there's some drop-down menus, academic support and tutoring services. This is where you would click to do our drop-in Zoom tutoring for statistics, for writing, for assessment. We also have on the left-hand side some additional resources here. Dean talked about BrainFuse. We've also got here's where you can download SPSS for your home computer. And then we have our online support resources. And then this Hawk 5 is our dissertation. We're calling it our boot camp. It's actually a dissertation toolbox. My computer is going a little slow. And it is a Moodle course. So right now we do have it all saved in Moodle. So you will need to self-enroll in the Moodle course. But this is where we've been hosting our, so here we had Aaron Draper did our one a couple weeks ago for APA style. We've got the overall Alliant resources for dissertation students. But real quick, let me just go back while I've got you all. We can highlight not only within, we've got the Academic Support and Tutoring Center, but this is also where you would go, you can go to academics. This is where you find your textbook list, right? Sometimes folks don't always know about that. We've got also here in academics, this is the registrar, commonly used forms, add drop, course substitution, independent study, so a great resource. And then also, of course, Dean, students can access the library this way. So kind of multiple different ways to get to places. I'm going to stop sharing there. Okay, any other questions for today? Yes, Rita.
Hi, I'm sorry. I was in class.
Thanks.
I'm so sorry.
No, thank you for joining us. Please, go ahead.
Thank you. Where in the portal do I get to the hub again? I'm trying to find it.
Okay, so I'm going to have to kind of walk you by talking because I actually can't log into the student portal. I just know where it is. If you're in the portal, on the left-hand side, there's going to be some links, right? Like one link should say student finance, one link probably says, there should be one that says student resources. Okay, click on that. And then you're going to click on it again, student resources. Then you've got the screen is opened up, and up at the top of the screen it says Alliant Hub, and it looks kind of like a little starburst hub and spoke thing. Click on that, and you're there. All right, I got a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't screen share that part, but I actually can't log into the student portal. Can you go back to the library and show us how to find the dissertation area in the library? Dean, I'm going to turn that back over to you.
Right. So going to library.alliant.library.edu, on our library page we have, let me see if I can actually go back to the beginning. All right, so at the library webpage, library.alliant.edu, when you go and you'll see the different resource tabs we have. We have research, we have services, we have about. Also it pops up and asks if you need help. If you do, you can always ask for help that way too. But under research we have Alliant theses and dissertations, and under services we have submitting dissertation, and that has some of the information you need about submitting dissertation and the resources for that, and just basically step by step for the process to go through to submit your dissertation. And then we have formatting information. It has the Alliant approved formatting guide, which not only has APA material in there, but it also has stuff that is decided specifically by Alliant by the faculty preference. We also have the dissertation manuscript template, which you can use as a resource as well. But I always recommend people do use the formatting guide. Oftentimes when I go to look at the dissertations at the end, people turn them into me, and I've said, did you look at the formatting guide? They say, do we have a formatting guide? And I have to tell them, yes, we do, and then they have to make revisions because they didn't use it. Be familiar with the formatting guide. It's very important. And then we had at the end here, as I mentioned, we have a list of editors you could utilize in your area, or if you don't need, it doesn't matter, you could pick anyone you want. You could also contact me about any of this, and I'll be glad to help you. If you forget this or need help with this, just contact me and I'll walk you through it, or I'll tell you where to go.
Letitia, so you guys have to keep repeating yourselves one more time. Yes, we'll show you where to do the Zoom recorded sessions. So let's, Dean, if you want to give it back to me.
Oh, sorry, yes, sorry.
Okay. No.
Here you go.
And then actually, Dean, while you had the library, let's do, there was a question about 7th edition formatting.
Yeah, so at this time, if you are now working on your dissertation, you will be utilizing the 7th edition. If you've already done it, you're just turning it in right now, we would say, yeah, sure, go ahead and use the 6th edition. But if you are working on it right now, you should be using the 7th edition. I suggest everybody working on the dissertation purchase a copy. It really is not that expensive, and it's a good resource to have at your hand whenever you need it.
Great. Okay. And let me, and then Julie, excuse me, it wasn't Julie, it was Leticia, who was asking how to get to the dissertation toolbox. So again, we are here at the, no, thank you, I don't need help, that's wonderful. You're librarians, you're very helpful. Oh, here we go, let me go back. So I am now, as I was kind of leading through Kawika, we're at the Alliant Student Hub. We've logged onto the student portal. We've clicked on that left-hand side on Student Resources. We've clicked on Student Resources again. That takes us to a screen display. We have Student Hub. It looks like a little sparkle Jetson star. We click on that, and then we're in the Alliant Student Hub. And from here, all kinds of different departmental information under Student Affairs. We're going to do Academic Support and Tutoring Services. And that takes us here to our main page. Again, we want to highlight our Zoom drop-in hours for tutoring, assessment, and writing. Scroll all the way down, We go to our Hawk 5 Dissertation Bootcamp, and that takes us to the Dissertation Toolbox. And this is where we have all of our pre-recorded dissertation power hour sessions, also self-directed information available for students. So we've got, here you can see some of our recorded sessions from prior sessions this summer from our Dissertation Power Hour. There's also a link to Academic Writer, a resource, some writing resources, talking about the APA 7th versus 6th. Goodness, we've got dissertation formatting, we've got quantitative methodology, we've got research design. I'm going quickly, but all kinds of wonderful information. And here's also you can download your free Qualtrics account. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here. You're very welcome, Leticia. Any other questions? Yes, Tanya. Does Alliant provide free access to the APA 7th edition? Dean, do you know, is it in the library?
Well, it is. The library is closed right now, though, so we don't really have an open library, so that's a problem. And we don't have it online, unfortunately. So, I mean, in fact, my library doesn't have a copy yet. I know Fresno and Sacramento do, but I've not been, for whatever reason, I haven't been given one yet. But I'm assuming we go back online and have couriers again, I'll ultimately get a copy, but I don't have a copy right now. We don't have it online. I do recommend if you're writing a dissertation right now, you should have a copy of your own. It's not very expensive, and it's a good resource to have at your fingertips. Rather than coming in and looking at it and going home. It's nice to have it like you're working on a dissertation at 2 in the morning. It's good to have a physical copy. But when we open again and we have open libraries, by then we will have physical copies in the library you could look at.
Great, thank you, Dean. Other questions, folks? All right, lots of thank yous. So we're going to go ahead and kind of wrap up our session. Folks, again, I want to thank you for participating. I am going to, it might not be this afternoon, it might be the next day or so, I'm going to send you a short Qualtrics survey. We're doing some assessment of our dissertation summer power hour sessions, looking to get feedback on how helpful it was and ideas for future sessions. So please be on the lookout for that email from me with a quick Qualtrics. I guarantee it's like 5 questions, super quick survey. Dean, thank you again for a great presentation and great information resources. We'll get the PowerPoint from you as well as this recording and post it to the Dissertation Toolbox in the next couple days. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful couple restful days, and we will start our fall term next week. See you in Zoom.
See you guys later. Bye.